Hey guys, it's Colin from XO Medical Spa and welcome back. And commonly you guys will hear me speak about just stuff that I hear in practice, whether I hear it from a client, whether it's just something I experienced and I want to share with you guys. And one of the common things that I hear is people will either come back to me as a repeat client or new people who have come to me for the very first time, or whether it's the other providers that we have here. So one of the things I hear is, you are the best provider I've ever had, or recently I went to my old provider and they just don't do it right like you do for me. And this also came up because we had I don't want to say a difficult client, but we've had one of these clients where they love to badmouth other providers, saying that they did my treatment wrong. I went to this celebrity physician out in Newport Beach and everyone rants and raves about him, but he did my filler and he messed me all up. And one of the things I always dive into is, why do you think they messed you up? Or why do you think the treatment was done wrong? And we'll discuss that when we come back. So for the two patients we had today, the first one this morning was a follow-up patient, and they had Dysport about a week ago. But immediately after that treatment, I think it was 3 days after treatment, they say, my wrinkles are still there. Why are my wrinkles still there? And I said, okay, give it a full week and come back and we'll follow up. And typically I always say wait 2 weeks because we want to really have that medication sink in. But knowing this patient, I said, come on in, we'll just see you in a week. The second patient came in today and repeat client once again, but she went somewhere else because she had a hard time coming to see us. It was just because we booked so far out in advance. So she went to go see one of her old providers. She said, hey, I saw someone back in July, but now I'm back to see you for Dysport, and this provider did X and X and X, wasn't really satisfied with it, and I prefer to come see you. However, you booked so far in advance, so I couldn't come in to see you. So let's address those two comments when we come back. So for that first patient that said, my Dysport didn't work, I still see the wrinkles, please see our old videos for when we talk about Botox, when we talk about wrinkles, that those two medications, those two procedures don't fix your wrinkles. Sound weird, right? You are getting Botox, you are getting Dysport for wrinkle reduction, wrinkle prevention, but you're not really fixing that, because really we're affecting the muscles. And then in turn, over time, your body will either repair those wrinkles or your body won't make those wrinkles. So that's what you're really fixing. Now, she said in the past she's done fillers with this celebrity doctor out in Newport Beach and didn't get the aesthetic outcome that she wanted. And today her complaint was, I told you I needed so much Dysport. I needed 100 units. You only wanted to give me 75 units, and look, I look awful. So did she look awful? No, she just needed more Dysport. But I stress, one, I'd rather under-treat the area, knowing that if you need retreatment, come back and we'll add more units, we'll add more Botox, we'll add more Dysport, because it's always easier to add than to take away. But she didn't want to listen, she didn't want to hear that, she just didn't have that understanding that even if I put in 1,000,000 units of Dysport, 1,000,000 units of Botox, your wrinkle will still be there. You've etched in those lines for 40, 50 years, and now we're using Dysport and Botox to try to correct that. But if that wrinkle is there, no matter what we do, it's still going to be there until your body fixes it, if it fixes it at all. But I want to relay that back to the fact that she said she went to this person in New Mexico, had it done one time, and it was absolutely perfect. It's medicine. In the end, we're using an educated guess. In the end, we're using manufacturer FDA guidelines to try to treat this. So no matter what the explanation was, no matter how I'm trying to reiterate that, yes, we want to make it a perfect treatment, but in the end, it's medicine, nothing is perfect. If you went to your doctor and got medication to try to treat your cough, try to treat your headache, try to treat your aches and pains, if they don't get it perfect the first time, would you go somewhere else and say, hey, that doctor gave me the wrong prescription, that nurse practitioner gave me the wrong medication, I never want to go to them again? No, chances are you would go back and you would say, hey, this prescription didn't work for me, what else can be done? But too often people just think, I'm just going to jump from provider to provider, I'm going to jump from Groupon to Groupon, I'm going to jump from sale price to get this perfect treatment. So that's commonly one of the things I hear is, they'll just compare provider to provider and say, this provider is better, this provider is better. And if that's truly the case, then why are you jumping from practice to practice? So if you find that provider, fantastic. If that provider, new provider, old provider didn't do it right this go round, whether it's the first time, whether it's the second time where you've done it for years on end, remember it's medicine. There's always fluctuations with medicine. It's not a black and white. it's a fluid state. Now to that second person that came in to see me, once again, a client who's come in here multiple times, but she had a Dysport treatment in July. It's currently September right now, so it's only been about 2 months. And she said, I had a difficult time getting in to see you. You booked so far in advance, and that's a good and bad thing in regards to clients have to book so far in advance because we book up pretty quickly. But she went back to one of her old providers and she said she wasn't satisfied. So again, I asked, why weren't you satisfied? She said she just didn't do it right. She did the same amount of units as you, but it just wasn't the same thing. And again, I'll never bash providers. It's having that understanding of why do you think that provider didn't do the right treatment for you? Was it units? Was it placement? And again, I asked, did you follow up? Did you go back to that provider and explain the rationale why you weren't satisfied? And she said, no, I have daycare issues. I have my kid. I just wasn't able to get back in my 2-week follow-up. So I stress, even if it's our 5th time, whether you've seen me for years on end, whether it's our first time, same thing. Medicine is not perfect. We make an educated guess. We presume based on recommendations on how much we need to treat your goals. Now, if that treatment is perfect, fantastic, we've won. But in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, if we need any type of follow-up, then it's very, very important that you go back to that same provider and you say, look, we did an X amount of treatment, but I'm still seeing lines here and there. I'm seeing my eyebrows do funky things, but that's when we fix those items. So it's very important that one, you show for the follow-up, but then the other piece is, as a provider, I never want to bash another provider. And then that's another thing that I think puts us at odds with each other and puts clients in a bad situation where they'll say, hey, that provider said that other person did a bad job, or they didn't do enough fillers in me, or they just did a bad procedure and now look, I have a drop brow. There's many factors when it comes to aesthetic outcomes. So it's important that one, as providers, we don't bash other providers. And then two, we really educate clients and have that understanding that what they see as a bad treatment may not necessarily be a bad treatment, but it's important to have that open dialogue. So hopefully that helps a little bit in regards to having one, the follow-up, two, provider bashing, and three, having that open conversation with clients. Really let them voice what their concerns are. But then as a client, you really need to understand what we're coming from as providers, and we're giving you that full education. And even though that education might be a little too much to absorb at one time, we really want to have that open, honest dialogue back and forth, okay? So I hope you guys like these little tidbits about these open dialogues that we have back and forth. And I really want to just reiterate the things that we have here in office. And if you have any other questions, comment below on what you guys want to see from your providers, or if you guys are providers watching this, what do you commonly hear from your clients that you want to get disseminated so clients have a better understanding of the procedures we do here in office. So have a good week. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.